Do you want to know more about the card game that is coming with the Elder Scrolls Online with the High Isle chapter? Let me tell you what I know. Hello, it's Icy. Yes, I was lucky enough to get to take part in the press preview for Update 34, High Isle, for the Elder Scrolls Online. The big new system that's coming with this chapter is an in-game card game, a collectible card game called the Tales of Tribute. I have spent some time looking at it, playing the build that was provided to us so I could get a good idea of how it feels, how it plays, what it's like, and I want to share that information with you. I'm sure you have questions. Do ask them in the comments. I will answer as soon as possible. At this stage, as I record this, no idea when this comes to the public test server, but yes, feel free to ask questions and I will answer what I can. A couple of things to note. We are not allowed to show any of the footage from the press preview server. All pictures and images you see in the background are provided by ZeniMax. I can give you my impressions and tell you how it played, what I found. Also keep in mind, the build I got to test was at least a month old when I was playing it. So even for me, it wasn't, there were some bugs, basically, but I do feel that I got a good feel for how the card game works, and I would like to share that with you. So, the game is called The Tales of Tribute. You require 40 points to win, or you need the favor of the heads of the 4 suits of cards that you're playing with in that round. Each game, 15 to 20 minutes to play. Thereabouts. It's going to take longer as you're learning and as you're reading the cards. As you get a feel for it, this should speed up, I would imagine. There is both a PvE component where you're playing against NPCs in the world with AI, and you can also play against other players. Playing against other players is both can be just a casual game, but there are also leaderboards as well. So you can choose to queue in the same way that you can queue for a dungeon or a battleground. You can queue for a Tales of Tribute battle, and you can queue either for ranked or unranked. That's up to you. You can also just walk up to another player and say, hey, wanna play a Tales of Tribute with me? In the same way that you would go up to another player and say, do you want to duel? You can play in the world, in a house, anywhere you like. NPCs who play Tales of Tribute will find mainly in inns and other pubs, that kind of environment. As you wander around the world, you will see different people, extra NPCs basically, floating around in different pubs and clubs and things that you can actually interact with and play Tales of Tribute. There are different levels of NPC skill, so you need to increase your rank of Tales of Tribute in order to engage with the higher level NPC players. Not sure about how it will rank you against other players. Presumably it's going to rank you with people who are a similar kind of level, but there's basically not enough people on the preview server to test any of that anyway. So let's talk about how it's constructed as you play the game. There are 8 different suits, which are not really card decks. They're kind of more like clubs, hearts, like literally suits of cards. And each of the suits has their own theme. Within a game, each player picks 2 suits to be part of the shared card deck. So the suits are combined. Your cards within your suit are combined together. The cards are shuffled together. Each player is given 5 cards, and they also have can basically purchase and draw cards from the shared pile in the middle. So the red suit is St. Pellin. It's a power and defense kind of scheme. It has more kind of NPC agents that stay on the board, than maybe the other suits. The yellow suit is the Grandmaster Delmine Lalu, and that one is a money generating and control of the shared draw pile, basically, which is called the Tavern. The purple is the Duke of Crows, which is to do with gold generation and thieving, stealing cards. The green is the Red Eagle, King of the Reach, mostly to do with removing your cards, removing unwanted cards in order to strip down the deck and make sure that you're always getting the cards you want. This light blue is the Sigic Lawmaster Solarius, which is to do with predicting the next card. So looking at the top of your draw pile, for example, and seeing which cards are coming up so you can then predict what move you need to make. Dark blue is the Sorcery King Orgnum, which is really to do with generating lots of small, low-cost mobs and then just overwhelming the enemy that way. The Unsai Frundir Hundig, I don't know what color that is. That's not a deck that's been unlocked yet, and don't know what it will be. And Rajin the Purring Lyre, another unknown deck. These decks, I believe, are unlocked as you quest through the main quest line through High Isle. I believe that these become unlocked as you go. And additionally, the kind of no color gray, the Tavern. So there are Tavern cards that are not part of any of the suits that will always appear and get shuffled into the deck as you create it. So you start out with the Tales of Tribute by visiting this particular building that you see here, which is in the main city of High Isle. There's a couple of little starting quests. You speak to somebody outside, he sends you inside, you speak to the boss, and then you play a few games of Tales of Tribute against an NPC. Once you've unlocked the kind of general quest idea, then you can continue on and play against other novices, NPC novices, which will give you a feel for the game. There's a whole section, a whole chunk of them actually, something like 10, I think, 10 or 12 novices that you can play against in order to get a different feel. Each one has a slightly, well, actually, I can't tell. They all seem to play very similarly, but we were told quite specifically that the AI that we were playing against was actually like a much earlier version. So hopefully the AIs will be giving us a decent challenge as we play. Once you've finished those quests, then other options become available. For example, there are also daily combats as well. So in the same way that there are daily dungeons, it looks like there are daily tribute games that you can participate in as well. So that was not able to be previewed just because of bugs at the time. So looking forward to finding out more information about that. So you collect cards, you're given the starter deck, so you're given some cards to start with, and then you can collect more. Cards can also be upgraded as well. The actual process for upgrading seems to be some sort of treasure hunt, riddle clues, like maybe like writ map kind of things where you're given a clue that you need to work out to go and visit to unlock something. Not something that we could actually test and preview, but it sounds really cool. It's possible that there will be more suits and possibly more cards introduced later if the game proves popular to the general sort of player base. No point putting effort into systems that people aren't using. So hopefully, I was having fun playing it. I think it could be very good. I did feel that maybe the matches were a little long. I know we're all still learning and working out what's going on, but I'm kind of thinking 10 minutes is better than 20, something along those lines. Oh, something I forgot to say, 8 suits, 20 cards each, and those cards can be upgraded. Some of them, not all of them, can be upgraded. So it's not like there's a massive amount of cards to collect and unlock. So rewards for playing and winning games are things such as materials, transmute stones, housing materials, patterns, all sorts of goodies basically. So you will get a good range of different bits and pieces that you can pick. There are some achievement furnishings, so yes, a playing table for your house if you make the master rank, which looked lovely. Couldn't really preview it because it's sort of locked behind the achievement stuff, but it was like, it was there. So something to keep an eye out on. So how to play the game. You approach another player or an NPC, and then you're taken to a flat screen, which unfortunately I don't have a preview of. So, but it looks much similar to other computer card games where there's you're at the bottom of the screen and the person you're playing is across the top. Each player picks 2 suits, and then yes, all cards are combined along with the Tavern cards to give you a shared deck. So you're given a hand of 5 cards. When you play your at the end of your turn, if you have any cards left in your hand, they're moved over to your cooldown pile. So, and then you're given a new fresh hand of cards. If the draw pile, where the new cards are coming from, runs out, the cards that are in the cooldown pile get moved over to the draw pile, and then you're added to your hand. So you're actually only playing with a fairly limited number of cards. And it's probably a good tactic to actually keep that number quite low in order to give you the cards you need fairly often. Only agents, which are kind of NPCs, will actually stay on the board. Everything else gets shuffled through. Certainly there are some skills and things that can be used to get rid of agents, or basically force agents off the board and back into the player's hands. They need to pay the cost to play them again. So cards are used to generate resources. So either gold to allow you to buy cards from the Tavern, so the shared deck. It can give you prestige. Prestige are winning points. You require 40 prestige at the end of your turn to win. Or they can be used to give you power. Power is used for a couple of different things. It's not quite the same as coins. It can be used to activate different sorts of things, and then at the end of the turn, the power, end of your turn, the power is then transferred into prestige if you haven't used it for anything else. So in general, you probably want power to generate power more than you do prestige, but you know, it can be used for different sorts of things. So the patrons of each of the 4 suits are actually added to the board as well, and you can pay them to give you certain bonuses. So each of them brings their own bonus that's along the theme of the deck. In addition to that, if you actually pay them, use their bonus, they'll actually turn and face you, and then they favor you. If all 4 of the patrons favor you, then you win the game automatically. So it's something else to keep an eye on. If you are certainly against the lower level NPC players, it's a quick way to win a game. You can just pay the patrons and then just win. So, but it is something to keep in mind if you're playing a player. Just keep an eye on that patron status. You can just pay the cost to the patron to turn them back to neutral if somebody else has activated them, and then pay a second cost to get them to favor you. So it can get expensive, but they do have quite useful tactics, quite useful features that you might consider using regularly as well. So one other important thing about the cards is some of the cards will have combos. So what that means is that they will combine with other cards in order to give you additional bonuses. This is how you win the game. You want to keep your combos coming as much as you can. It's not super obvious how they work, but after some testing, you play the card that has the combo on it in a certain color. For example, if you play a red card and maybe it says it gives you 2 power when you play it normally as a standard card. But if you can activate the combo, it will give you 2 power and 2 gold, for example. So the way you would work it is you play that red card down, and then in the same turn, you play another red card. The second red card can be just a basic card with just red, or it could be a basic card, sorry, another red card with a second combo. If you can play the first combo, and then the second combo, and then a third combo, or a third playing card, you can actually activate multiple combos. This is why you want to keep the cards in your deck streamlined and in as much the same color as possible. But yes, you might want to use a couple of suits, but do try to keep it really streamlined. Don't be afraid of using abilities to get rid of cards that you don't want, because yeah, keeping that deck down as much as possible is really important. So it is a little early for this, but let's talk strategy. No single deck can win. However, you don't want to go more than 2. Try and keep them quite streamlined. Don't have too many cards in your deck. You really do want those combos coming up rapidly and making sure it's no good. For example, if you have the blue card here with a combo in it, but then the next hand is the thing that you get to activate it. That's not super helpful. The Reach deck and the Sigic deck are probably best as supporting. I think that would be extremely hard to play as like a primary deck. Ones I'd recommend for primary are probably the red and the dark blue, the Ogrim one. Those two have a lot of kind of winning things. So yeah, things that can actually generate either power or prestige. So for combos, yes, play that card that has the combo on it first, and then the second card will trigger what's on the first card. Do keep in mind winning by the patron method. And the other thing that I'd say is really very important is you want to generate gold as fast as you can early on in order to purchase the cards that you need. So yeah, there are a couple of techniques I think that will become available for generating gold. You'll notice one early on. I'll leave it to the player to discover a little bit later perhaps. But generate that gold. Don't buy the cards you don't need. The only reason I would suggest you buy a card you don't need is if you know the other person wants it. Then it's actually probably useful to, for example, you can see they're stacking red and a powerful red card comes up and you might have the gold. It could be useful to buy that red card just to get it away from the other player, and then perhaps use like a reach card to then get it out of your deck completely. So, Tales of Tribute coming soon to an Elder Scrolls near you. I will be playing it. Will you? Do you have any questions about how it plays? Happy to answer any that you've got. I can certainly jump on to the preview server and have a look and get some more details up until everything goes live on the PTS. Well, I'm sure it will be working a lot better. Thank you very much for watching, and I will talk to you next time. Bye.